Hello, so I'm just in. Sorry, it's all a bit wonky, the camera angle. You're just going to have to cope, it's fine. So I just got back from the We Need to Talk meeting in Manchester with Julia Long and Posy Parker, which by the way was lovely, but I had to leave about 10 minutes before the end because I had to come home. So I didn't manage to say hello to lots of people, and I meant to. The WPUK meeting was cancelled tonight because trans terrorists who apparently believe that preventing women from having freedom of assembly is normal managed to get the meeting cancelled. This is my message to all the women involved in the Women's Place UK meeting in Leeds, including Emma Dolan and people who really worked hard to put that on. You fucking shits. As if you did that to them. Fuck off. So this is a message to the women in Leeds. If there's anything that I can do to help you get your meeting back on, to rebook it for next week, if anything that we can do to link up with Correcting a Blind Spot, anything at all, you just shout and we'll do that. I wanted to talk about something that came to mind while I was in that meeting, because women are standing up everywhere. So the diverse group of women that was in that room, the left couldn't get that group of women in a room. There's no other political force in this country that could get that group of women in a room. And I'm going to explain why we're going to win this. So we're at the stage of narcissistic abuse where we all know what's happening and dissonance is falling, and all we have to do is keep articulating the behaviour in front of us and refuse to have the conversations that we've already had. Now that means that we are fighting for recognition of laws and systems which protected women from abuse. And I'm going to tell you who created those systems and who created those laws and who got them. That was women. And I was minded this evening of the battles that used to take place around women's refuges, the fight to establish them, the fight to keep men out of them. And these services were never given to women. These were women who took it upon themselves to say, actually, we will not be beaten. We will set up our own services, and we fucking did that. And these services have grown. And so we, as modern women, we live in a world where we're used to being able to say, well, actually, domestic abuse is not okay. You are a man and you cannot subordinate women. Women are not owned anymore. All these battles were won. And they were not won in the headlines, and they were not won. They were won in houses, and they were won in women's refuges, and they were won in offices. And they were won in local authorities, and they were won in local government, and they were fought by women. And the whole time that they were fought, those women had to face off the same thing that we have to face off. Male rage. But I'm going to give you some advice about dealing with that rage, because this fight looks noisy. And it looks like there are lots of battles. Most of our battles are already won. And we're fighting for recognition of systems that already exist. At a key moment when every political party needs to recognise those systems, when domestic abuse should be a central policy goal, when they can't get out of our social care crisis, they can't get out of any one of a number of policy crises without recognising those systems. And that's what we're doing. We are standing up. Now, often, I've dealt with quite a few custody disputes. And with a narcissist, basically the women that I've worked with, they had won the minute that they walked in that courtroom, because they did what they needed to do to let their narcissist demonstrate for them. But the noise afterwards, the rage afterwards, the hell that comes down on these women is huge, but it's empty. And that is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with empty, narcissistic rage and noise. And we're going to use it. We're going to use it to illustrate which institutions were not aware of this rule of law. A woman came to this meeting tonight to say, oh, well, we've had self-ID in Ireland and nothing's happened. We already know about predatory behaviour. We already know about male violence. We already have systems, and that's what we're fighting for recognition for. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to not be afraid. And we're going to have to understand that that rage is going to come to us from institutions and individuals. And it's going to come flying at us. And the reason we're going to get so much rage is because they've already lost. Because the minute they requested a fucking safeguarding debate and started demonstrating male pattern abusive behaviour, they were giving us a demonstration of male pattern abusive behaviour that's linked to enough scalps at elite level that we're going to use it. We're going to use what the TRAs do to get recognition of those systems. Now, what this YouTube channel has largely been is making sure that it's on record that the structure of those systems was understood at this point. So a lot of these playlists that I've done, they're quite obtuse. I wouldn't expect anybody to listen, but they're about making sure that that is done. When I went to the LSE, which is the core of these disciplines that are spinning out and can't offer answers at the moment, I identified this blind spot. And I remember sitting there thinking, why have I even bothered to do this? Why have I just torn myself apart to identify this blind spot in policymaking, to identify this reflex? And I was absolutely confident the whole way along. And I couldn't say to anyone that I was confident of this because they would have thought I was mad. I was absolutely confident that there was no way that British women were going to roll over and take this. And that once they understood, they would stand up. And that's what you're doing. Now, we don't have to do, we're not the suffragettes, because the suffragettes had to fight for the vote and they had to fight for the laws and they had to do that. We don't have to do that. We have those laws, we have those systems. Politicians cannot get out of a multitude of policy crises, and their biggest problem is that they have refused to see us. Now, that meeting tonight in Leeds was cancelled, and I am fucking livid on behalf of every woman involved in WPUK. So we're going to have to put more meetings on. They take Posey's billboard down, we put more billboards up. They make noise, we make bigger noise. Because they are fighting reality. We are adult women, and we might not have the recognition at elite level, but what we have is power. And I want you to understand that that power is yours, and you can use it tomorrow. And you may think these are small things. I know that from the outside it might look like there's a key clique. There isn't a clique here. There are lots of different women working together doing lots of different things. Use your strengths. Go to fucking work. Talk to your neighbours. Talk to your MP. Do what you can, but you need to stop being afraid and understand that the rage is how you know that you're right. My ex-husband used to say you could tell how right I was by who I'd pissed off and how loud they were, and he was absolutely right. And over the years I have learned to actually enjoy that point of rage where they're just fucking, they have nowhere to go. We had already won this when they started demonstrating male pattern abusive behaviour. Gender identity clinics are to be rebranded as gender dysphoria clinics. The NHS know that something's going on. We have a major child abuse and grooming scandal with all sorts of Gires and mermaids at the centre. And we are going to win, but now we have to face off the rage, and we're going to have to do that for quite a while. So, a message to the women in Leeds: I'm so sorry that all your hard work was fucked up by these bastards tonight. If there is anything that I can do to assist any of the Women's Place UK women in Leeds, if you want to double up and use the Correcting a Blind Spot meeting to do what you were doing, you want me to budge over, I'm all good with that. I will do that. The secret to this is us all standing together, and even with the differences between us, even with those of us who don't like each other and we come from different backgrounds, right now we need to stand together and we need to face off this rage, and we will win this, and we're going to win it.